And we are recording. Everyone just say something so I can look at your...
Honk. This is me.
Say.
Great.
Honk. Okay, here we go. You're just an insect at heart. You can never understand me. This is episode 386 of Insert Credit, your favorite video game podcast and mine, Horrible Buzzer Be Damned. I'm Alex Jaffe, and I say we can get through 30 questions today.
Wow. I'm Frank Cifaldi, and $1, Bob, $1.
Okay.
My name is Ash Parrish. No whammies. Keep it going, Brandon.
I'm Brandon Sheffield, and I think we can get through 23 questions. 23.
But what are you here to say?
What? Oh. You're referencing last week's episode.
That's right. Brandon Continuity Sheffield here.
I'm Brandon Sheffield, and I'm here to say I'm going to answer questions.
Today.
Try. I was going to say in a major way again, but I don't know if I want to do it in a major way.
Do you want to do it in a minor way?
Yeah.
Okay.
A minor.
I do.
Thank you, Ash. This week we're trapped in the question hole, and we're going to have to desperately claw our way out in the time that we have together. I have got 850 questions here submitted to our subscribers at patreon.com/insertcredit.
Oh, we could probably get through it.
And I'm going to use a random number generator to get through as many as we can in the time we have, regardless of their quality. Usually I monitor these so that nothing really bad gets through. But this week, unless it's like really, really bad, I'm just going to let them all through so you can get a sense for truly the kind of questions we get here in the question hole.
Okay. I don't know if I want to know this.
Yeah, if you really, do use some discretion, just a little, just the tiniest bit.
I promise to use the tiniest modicum of discretion.
Okay, thanks.
But other than that, we're going to get, this is more of a comment than a question. We're going to get, I have an idea for an entire episode. We're going to get all of that. But here's the thing. All of you have the authority to skip a question at any time if you spend a credit.
I appreciate that every week you try to get me to use my...
Ash is just
so mad about
Ash
how
is
many
a
credits I
dragon
have.
sitting on her hoard at this point.
Yes.
She's not getting off that hoard.
No.
Right. I'm going to see how many we can get through. Here is our first question. It's from Chris B. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge soundtrack.
I'm going to spend a credit. No.
Yeah. All right.
No, I'm not. No, go.
Features performances by Mike Patton of Faith No More, Raekwon and Ghostface Killah from the Wu-Tang Clan, and Random, a.k.a. Mega Ran. This is a strong lineup, but what are your all-time favorite single performances by a third party on a game soundtrack? For example, Simple and Clean by Hikaru Utada for Kingdom Hearts would be a single performance, but the Quake soundtrack is all 9 Inch Nails, so it wouldn't count for this question.
That's be a musical performance, I guess, huh? Okay.
Yeah, I guess it does. And so that also thankfully precludes us from answering yeah. Because The Offspring did all of that. At least several songs in Crazy Taxi, so we don't have to worry about that.
I'm going to answer some other question, which is favorite appearances of musical performers in video games, and I just kind of want to give a quick shout out to Penn and Teller's Smoke and Mirrors on the Sega CD, which has very weird, funny cameos by Deborah Harry and Nick Cave. Every furniture store in that game is called Debbie's or Harry's, and when you go in, it's an FMV Debbie Harry from Blondie who sells you hammers.
That's a pretty good non-musical performance, but yeah. I think outside the scope of what is being looked for here.
I don't respect the question hole.
I don't either.
Well, I can't move on until I get one earnest answer.
So wait, is this by like no, I have my answer. It's easy. It's off the top. Cynthia Harrell, Snake Eater.
Oh yeah,
Great,
of course.
Done.
Okay, question 2. From Whywhy. What is the Megalopolis of video games?
Oh, fuck.
Baby. Oh, baby.
Death Stranding.
For me, I'm going to say really, really big movie A lot of people talked about it and had divisive opinions, but I didn't play it. Is where I'm going because I didn't watch Megalopolis.
Yeah.
And so, Last of Us Part 2.
No.
Yes, actually. And you know what? Using that criteria, Death Stranding still fits for me. Really big, lots of divisive opinions. I have not played it. Death Stranding.
Okay.
No, come on. It's director who's 300 years old, who's making something that they really believe in, that everyone is baffled by. It's Shenmue 3.
Oh.
Yeah. I think that's probably a better one.
That's a good answer. I like that. Okay, this one is from Spencer, who asks, what are the trademarks of your favorite game designer's styles? Is there a designer with a Tarantino foot fetish trademark that you hate?
Oh, well, the one I always love to talk about is that fella who did like Foxyland and Decap Attack and Magical Hat Adventures, who has this bendy pole. Loves a pole that you can jump on and then it bends back and forth. I love it because it's not a good mechanic and that guy is just like, I'm going to put it in.
I'll make it work this time.
I'm going to put it in there.
I don't know what this means, but the phrase that popped into my head during that question is every David Cage game is an annoying foot fetish.
Yeah.
That's correct. That is the correct answer. My somewhat earnest answer was Hidetaka Miyazaki with his poison swamp fetish.
Oh, yeah. That's a good one. To divisive effect. All right. Question 4 is from Seth, who says, in an interview for his new mobile game, 404 Game Reset, in which classic Sega games are turned into sexy women and fight a totalitarian Sega regime, Yoko Taro said, quote, it's a game that features Sega's IP, so I thought Sega should be in the game, but I didn't think Sega would want to see a game that portrayed it well, so I portrayed it negatively. How would you develop a game that portrays other game publishers / developers negatively? And Seth gives an example. It gives 5 examples. We'll run through all of them. First is Nintendo.
Oh, we have to do all of them. Okay, so
yeah, we have to do all of them.
Nintendo negative.
Oh, okay. It's just the whole game. You're trying to get past the tutorial, which is explaining to you how to hit buttons and how to play a tutorial.
Yeah.
Next is Sony Computer Entertainment.
Neil Druckmann comes up and tells you explicitly that this is a game about, I don't know, human misery.
Yeah.
And then he makes you kill a baby.
Yeah.
And then he makes you feel bad for making you kill a baby.
How dare you kill that baby? I can't believe you killed that baby. Konami.
Konami, it's just like they advertise it as a brand new Castlevania and then it's a pachinko game. Or they advertise a brand new Bomberman, but it's like a metal casino game.
That's good.
I was going to say it's a game where you like work at Konami, but if you just arbitrarily do something that they don't want, you just keep getting downranked, and you keep like getting up-ranked and downranked based on arbitrary rule changes and stuff like that.
Oh, no. Yeah. Devolver Digital.
Memes, baby.
It's just
memes. Quirky ass humor that's really not funny or stopped being funny back in 2012. That's just all of it. It's like the cake is a lie joke after the same shit brutal. Over and over again.
And lastly, Activision.
Oh, fuck. I don't know. Bobby Kotick personally comes to your house and threatens to kill you.
It's that Duty Calls game that came out. It was that like advert game for Bulletstorm that was like a parody of Call of Duty called Duty Calls. Like they already made that.
Yeah. All right. This next one is from Fruinblacksberk, who asks, if you could bring back to life one person in the video game industry who died a premature death, who would you choose?
Gunpei Yokoi.
Yeah, that's it.
I was going to say Naka, but sure.
Ash, you got another answer?
I don't know that many people who died.
In general,
in video game development, I can't think of anybody.
You want a sad, depressing answer? My friend's dad.
Aww.
All right, let's move on. This is from Chopemon.
No Iwata from any of us, huh?
No Iwata, no. He did enough. I feel like if we brought him, I'm not going to continue that sentence. Anything I said after that would have been bad.
It'd be a weird zombie, and games would be bad, and we'd be like, we would cancel him.
Yeah. All right. Chopemon asks, Red Faction Gorilla Remastered, Lollipop Chainsaw Repop, Darksiders War Mastered. What other game should get a remaster with a cool / dumb name?
Those are not cool names.
No.
I think.
Well, he did also offer /dumb.
Final Fantasy Fan Master.
I was going to say Final Fantasy Final Edition.
Yeah.
I feel like that's got to exist somewhere.
No, okay. So Final Fantasy Stranger of Paradise Frank Sinatra edition.
Okay.
Okay, but that doesn't have the like X Master in it.
Yeah. Remastered, reblastered.
Oh God.
Yeah.
All right.
Blaster Remastered.
Blaster Remastered. That's
Master
it.
Blaster Remastered.
I don't know what's funnier.
Blaster Remastered.
Blaster Master Remastered. You know?
Oh, God.
I think we got to take that one. Okay. Riley asks, who is the tallest character in video games? This is a good
question. Yeah.
There's probably a legitimate answer to this. Whatever the final boss is in the first Bayonetta.
Oh, Jubileus.
Yes.
All right.
I know God is in a lot of video games.
Yeah.
Yeah,
God's
but God also isn't very that tall.
No, but
like
God could be anything, right? So I think God, like,
God is
you
in all
can't
of
be
us,
taller than God.
Brandon.
But can
right?
God be so tall that he can't see the ground?
I have a policy I have mentioned in previous episodes where I won't ask a question if I think I know the definitive answer to it. And this is one of those, because the definitive answer is the king of all cosmos from Katamari Damacy.
Good point.
Oh, yeah. I like that guy.
Is he a boss, though? Oh, no, tallest
It didn't say
character. It's not a
just
boss. You're
tallest
right.
character. Okay. Next one is from Gaagaagiins, who asks, have we already seen the game as a service with the shortest lifespan? And have we already seen the game as a service with the longest lifespan?
Well, Conquered. So
Yeah, Conquered. It's hard. No, yeah, Conquered is the answer.
I can see there being a shorter one if it's like a smaller company.
Yes.
Right?
So there was was it Love Live or was it a Konami one?
Yeah.
There was one that got its end of service announced
Yes.
before the beta started.
But it still got to run for like a month, which is more than you got with Concord.
That's true.
Yeah, it did get to run for a month. And no, we haven't seen the longest one because they're
Absolutely
still going.
not.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, EverQuest is still a thing, isn't it?
Is it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Might be EverQuest.
Ultima Online is still live.
Yeah.
I could see EverQuest and Ultima Online servers going down before World of Warcraft's, though.
Maybe. RuneScape's still going also.
Yeah, RuneScape is still going.
There's MUDs that are still running.
That's
and
true.
also, I think stuff like RuneScape is trivial to keep running. World of Warcraft is not. So
That's
I
true.
disagree with you.
Yeah, it might be RuneScape in the long stretch of time. This one's from LeFish, who asks, what video games are most likely or best suited to be adapted into a Broadway or West End theater musical?
God
Yakuza.
Yeah.
God Hand.
Yakuza.
Oh, Yakuza. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We have actually asked a question like this on the show before, which is another category of question I don't bring up. It's like, oh, we've done something too similar to this.
But yeah, I think anything with over-the-top theatrical performances is ready to go.
BreadyToDie asks, has a video game ever affected your real-life ideological bent?
No.
Oh, question.
Well, it might have pushed me further left slightly, possibly by being annoying.
Yes.
And that's possible.
Yeah.
I can't think of an example, but I believe that's possible. Okay, what do you got?
I think you already know what the answer to this question is. It's BioShock Infinite.
Yeah.
Just by being fucking annoying.
Good.
Yeah.
What's the frequency, Kenneth? We got him back.
we got Ken on the track. We got David on the track. This is an all-time classic right here. Frank, you got one?
God. I don't think I do. No, but I like that, I like that there is an opposite of like, you made me so mad that I'm racist now.
Yeah. How dare you? This is an example of a question I don't ask because I think it's way too specific. Is Officer Zuffle from Ooblets copaganda? This is from Garrett.
I don't know what Ooblets is.
I do know what Ooblets is, but I didn't play it, and I'm going to say yes.
Wait, ask the question. Yes.
Is Officer Zuffle from Ooblets copaganda?
Let's see if he's got a mustache.
Yeah.
I'm looking him up. Officer Zuffle he's got a mustache.
Yep. Beats the criteria for copaganda.
Absolutely. 100%. Yep.
This one's from Spencer Gifts, who asks, are video games better than movies? Which movies are video games better than?
Oh, no. I don't like this question.
You
I'm
wanna spend
going
a
to
credit?
spend a credit to skip it.
Skipped.
Nice.
All right. Next question. Ooh, this is an early one. Okay.
It's an early one?
Yeah. This is from XCT, who says, what are some of the panel's favorite video game sequels that are of a completely different genre from games that begat them? For example, Pac-Man 2. So he took that right off the table.
Dang it. I mean, that is my favorite.
Yeah.
I like Final Fantasy XII Revenant Wings. That's a Final Fantasy XII RTS. I think that's fun. Wild Arms XF is all right. That's a tactics game in the Wild Arms universe. It's not that different. I kind of like R-Type Tactics, kind of. The maps are too big and everything takes too long, but that's kind of a fun one. It feels like Tactics is the easiest thing to sidestep to.
Mm-hmm.
They're all sort of the same genre, but they're very different, so I'm going to count it, even though I don't like these games. If you go look at all three James Pond games, as in LeFish, like the originals on the Amiga, they're all by the same guy, and they're all dramatically different from each other, and I really respect that.
I will forever remember James Pond 2 as the game we decided was the most medium game of all time.
Yeah.
I've got two answers. The first one is Persona 5 Strikers, which is legitimately a sequel to Persona 5, and Bayonetta Origins, Cereza and the Lost Demon. That actually is a really good game. It's like a top-down like adventure game, kind of. And Bayonetta is obviously like a beat 'em up, so it's actually really, really good. Came out a couple of years ago. You should play it.
Yeah, people loved that Lara Croft and the like Golden Spear or whatever it was called.
That one actually is really good too.
Yeah, it's a similar sort of genre step.
I think some of these qualify more as spin-offs than sequels, but
I agree.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Persona 5 Strikers is legitimately a sequel, though.
I think you're right.
Yeah, I'll count that. Final Fantasy XII Revenant Wings, I think, definitely counts. All right. Next question is from Cheapy, who says, who drives the coolest motorcycle in video games? Mine's Wario.
Because he drives like a straight up chopper, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Well, everybody loves that little cow in the new Mario Kart.
Well, he's driving a motorcycle. He is not the motorcycle.
Yeah, no one's driving the cow. Come on.
It's fair. Okay, coolest. I thought it was who drives the coolest motorcycle. Was that not correct?
It's who drives the coolest motorcycle.
That is a function of the motorcycle, not the driver.
Yeah. Okay.
Is it Cloud?
Well, I couldn't even tell you what his motorcycle looks like, but I know the answer is Shadow.
It's got to be Shadow.
Yeah.
Because it's the coolest by virtue of the fact that he's driving it.
Correct.
Not incorrect. I'm inclined to agree. I can't think of an answer, so let's go with that one.
Gaagaagiins asks, other than Doom 1993, what are some of the best games you can legitimately own and or play for $0? Note, even not including ones that don't have monetization. Free-to-play games are not games which cost $0 to play or own since you don't actually own them. As always, I trust you to appropriately condense and or reframe this question. Not this week, Gaagaagiins! This week you get the whole thing. Sometimes I truncate these. Not this week.
So you mean freeware games?
Yeah, it's Sega Genesis, no intro, full set torrent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
Nice.
The Pope of video games has spoken.
Very good.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
are you the Pope?
We settled this in a previous episode. Yeah. Frank, whenever Frank declares that we're allowed to download video games, we treat that as a decree from the video game Pope.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyone have another answer that isn't piracy?
Snake.
Oh yeah, Snake is chill.
Snake's fun.
There's some free game about like the copper thief or something. I can't remember what it's called, and it's like some weird horror-ish adventure game, and it was really cool, and I don't remember what it was called, so that one.
Yeah. This one comes from Anatoliu, who says, in 1990, Nintendo famously unloaded unsold copies of Dragon Quest I, Dragon Warrior, by sending free copies to Nintendo Power subscribers. If you could change this to any other video game available in 1990, which game would you select to send to all of Nintendo Power's 1990 subscribers?
Bonk's Revenge. I fixed the timeline.
We did it. We finally did it.
I am going to maybe change the spirit of this question and point out that they didn't send those out because that was the original plan.
Mm-hmm.
They sent them out because they had an excess of inventory of a game that didn't sell as expected. So
Yeah.
If you wanted to make a game fail, that's one way you could do it, and then make everyone have it. But I think sending everyone a TurboGrafx game that I don't even think is out yet is probably.
It might
the
have been
best answer.
1991. When was Bonk's Revenge? I'm looking it up. Yeah, it is 1991.
Yeah. And so everyone gets an unfinished copy of Bonk's Revenge.
Yeah. They could have Bonk's Adventure. It's fine.
Yeah. All right. Connor asks, who is the PS3 of human beings?
Oh my God.
Okay, so a little too complicated.
Qualify that.
Yeah. Who's got no games?
Way too expensive when they came out.
Yeah, and also you think that it didn't succeed against its biggest rival, but actually it ultimately did in the end.
Also, they have giant enemy crabs.
Yes.
Giant enemy crabs.
Good Lord. I defer to you guys. I have no idea.
Yeah. I don't know. Is that an acceptable
Well, we're
answer?
trapped here unless someone spends a credit.
Not particularly beloved anymore, seems like, is another thing I'll throw out.
Yeah. Yeah. People don't have nostalgia for it. It could be time to bring out our other good buddy.
Yeah.
Peter
Is it
Molyneux.
Peter?
Might be Peter.
Peter Molyneux was the PS3 of
We
people.
brought up Peter. We brought up Kojima. We brought up all four quadrants of our...
He was popular.
Yeah.
But he was also trying to do too much stuff, and then people were like, the games aren't that good.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only people who are like, oh man, Populous, like edit Retro Gamer magazine. Like no one else does that. Yeah.
I'm going to reveal another one of my questionable criteria here. Whenever someone submits a who is the blank of video games, I never ask it if I know the answer is going to be David Cage, Peter Molyneux, Hideo Kojima, or I think
Ken Levine.
Ken Levine.
Yeah.
Yep.
Those are my four. Our bread and butter. Okay.
Well, we did it.
We did it. Congratulations. Okay. This next one is from Kiko B, who says, what aspect of video game design do you feel is most commonly misunderstood? And what can the average game liker do to better understand it?
Yellow paint.
Yeah.
Like, so much digital ink has been spilled about yellow paint is dumb and it's stupid and blah, blah, blah. But like, I think, and it's mostly my colleagues doing that, and so I apologize on their behalf, but people are fucking stupid. Like, people are dumb and they need help sometimes, and yellow paint helps.
This is some like Green Lantern propaganda.
Yeah.
You know what else I find annoying about the yellow paint discourse is that nobody complains about an icon hovering over the head of a top-down RPG character to show that you can interact with them versus the character that you can't interact with that doesn't have an icon over their head. You know? Like
you need that shorthand.
I think it's about diegesis versus non-diegesis, because you're not supposed to accept that the icon is there, but though yellow paint is presented as if it is part of the world.
Yeah. No, I get that.
I will tell you my favorite implementation of yellow paint. It's not actually yellow, it's blue. South of Midnight. So South of Midnight is a game that's out. It's like a Southern Gothic game from Xbox, whatever. They mark the surfaces that you can interact with blue. And it's like, if you don't know anything about like Southern Gothic tradition, it's like, okay, this is just telling me that I can interact with this. But the fucking clever thing about it is that blue and it's a specific shade of blue. It's a color that people would paint on their porches in the South to ward away spirits or haints or whatever. Yeah, exactly. And another thing about it, it's like, it's a color of guidance. It tells you where to go. So I saw, like, when I was playing the game, there was a moment where I saw like blue butterflies, and it was like over a cliff, like surrounded by water. And if the main character interacts with water, she dies. But I saw the butterflies and I'm like, knowing what I know, I like took a leap of faith, and it took me to like a safe place where I found like a hidden secret. And it's like, there it is. They use the traditions combined with the colors to not only do something in the gameplay, but do something with the narrative. It's really fucking smart. So back off on the blue paint. We need it. Sometimes people are dumb. Mm-hmm. And if you use it correctly, you can use it to reinforce whatever story that you're telling. So that's my rant.
We've solved it. Okay. This next question is from Suda 68.999 repeating, who asks, a recently released mod allows Crusader Kings 3 players to fight battles initiated in that game in Mountain Blade 2. What two or more games would best complement each other if mod stitched together?
Well, it's obviously Mario and Sonic.
Yeah. at some sort of Olympic Games.
Yes. If they were playing sports.
Yeah. One of my favorite browser Flash games was Super Mario Brothers 1 remake that had just like platformers characters from a bunch of different platformers in them, and they all had the physics of those platformers. Like Mega Man was in it. And Simon Belmont was in it. That was cool as hell.
Yeah, you could play as Pit from Kid Icarus, shoot arrows and stuff. Yeah.
I have a hard time not just thinking about all the Dojin games that are like, it's a fighting game engine, sort of from one game, using all the characters from some like Leaf visual novel. Like that's where my brain just goes all the time.
Yeah, all the Toho shit.
Yeah. But I don't know if I don't think that's the answer that we're supposed to do.
No.
But that's one.
I can't think of 2 games. Well, I guess it technically does count, but maybe it doesn't. I don't know. But I like the mods where you stitch all the Sonic games together, and every time Sonic jumps, it switches to the next game in the line. Yeah. So like Sonic 1, and then you jump, and then it's Sonic 2, and then exactly. That's fun.
Well, I can't do my joke answer now, which is Sonic 3 and Sonic and Knuckles. But
thanks, Ash. You ruined it.
You're welcome.
This next question is from Kyle, who asks, skateboarding was such a big deal in the late 90s and early 2000s that its influence made its way into non-skateboarding games, such as Spyro, Year of the Dragon, and Metroid Prime. How would you implement skateboarding mechanics into the games of today?
Just make a Yakuza game.
Yeah.
Let's fast travel. Yeah.
Give Kiryu a skateboard. I mean, Deadly Premonition 2.
Yeah.
They were just like, let's give him a skateboard.
Well, I mean, as recently as last year, it wasn't literally a skateboard, but in Metafore ReFantazio, the sword that you float on.
It's more of a surfboard.
It's a skateboard.
But yeah, it's a good one.
You're killing her. You're killing her, Frank.
I think the big...
She's currently doing breathing exercises. She's trying to recover.
The big problem is when you could just go ahead and laugh, Ash. It's allowed.
Just like Nana used to make.
I'm amazed that, man, I would love to find something that funny. That would really improve my life.
Hey, Goomba.
Okay, I'm fine.
But yeah, you gotta let people grind on stuff. That's the problem. That's what we're missing.
That's true.
With these. She's still going.
We got to keep this show going.
All right, let's move along.
All right. We got to get out of here. Next question from Cole. Which video game sounds could also serve as great text tones?
You mean like a message for when you receive a text message?
Yes.
Because like a tone, I think of as like dial tone or like the numbers.
No,
but
I think the text notification.
Okay, gotcha.
But the obviously simple answer is the Metal Gear Solid "You've Been Seen" alert.
That gets annoying if there's like a bunch of them in a row.
Yeah.
It does, but I feel like it has to be annoying because there's no way to make those sounds not annoying. So it should be. And also, I've heard it in video game stores like 500 times. I've heard that on people do it. I've also heard some Panzer Dragoon trills. I've heard a Sonic ring.
Yeah. My favorite sound effect in video games to that effect is the iris out whip in Super Mario World, to the effect that I force Esper to end every episode with it, despite the fact that I don't think she really likes it. But there is a different Sonic ring effect in the Sonic games, like the ching after like a level end, which I think is a much more satisfying sound than like the get a ring.
So I was trying to think of a better one than the Metal Gear Solid exclamation point, while maybe like staying in Metal Gear Solid. And I think just having what's his name, the voice actor, go, huh? Like that.
No, that's very good. I like that.
That is good.
Yeah.
David Hayter's huh?
Yeah. Huh?
Huh?
I play that game, David Hayter's huh?
This one's from Spencer Gifts. If you're approaching a new game that has multiple versions, when will you play the remake or the remaster? When will you play the original?
If I want to play it when it comes out, I play the original and never play the remaster.
Yeah.
And if I miss it and then it comes back around as a remaster, that's when I maybe might play it.
That's correct. I will play, if I feel like there's going to be a remaster, I will wait and I'll play that.
But now there's this element of like, oh, they're going to do something funky with this remake that it's like a different game.
Yeah, I don't care. I'll still only play the remake.
Recency bias is hitting me again because I made a big long thread about Final Fantasy XII the other day. But the Zodiac job system version of Final Fantasy XII, like that is the superior version. Obviously, I played Final Fantasy XII when it came out, but like my superior, like when I think of my favorite Final Fantasy is Final Fantasy XII, it's the Zodiac job system version of it.
Yeah, we are chewing through these. I'm proud of us. This one's from Classic Anonymous, who asks, who is the William Randolph Hearst of video games? He's the guy Citizen Kane was based on.
But he's like the newspaper guy, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But like the abolitionist newspaper guy.
Spoiled rich guy. Just came up from money. Basically controlled the media. Maybe invented yellow journalism.
Oh, it might be Elon Musk.
Well, that's the thing.
Jeff
Elon Musk is like absolutely a modern day
Yeah.
Hearst, but that's not a video game person.
Well, I mean, he worked on several video games.
Yeah.
And
he's currently embroiled in a big like video game scandal that he's like paying people to be good at video games
he's
for
a
him.
fake gamer.
You need to tell me what video games Elon Musk worked on right now so I can never touch them and throw them out of my house if I own them.
Well, it was a long time ago, and they're not popular.
Okay.
You can look it up. It's not like something interesting that will affect your life.
Yeah.
Thankfully.
I think he made a game called Blastar or something.
Well, he worked kind of low level.
Yeah.
On a few things. He was not like critical to any of them.
All right. Here is my next one. This is from Dark Psychen, who asks, this author has been mentioned before on the show, and I really enjoyed his previous works up until his latest novel, which I could not finish. This headline popped up and has confirmed my depressing suspicion that he's gone completely to the dark side. Quote,
okay.
Visionary futurist Neal Stephenson and crypto pioneer Peter Vesines announce Lamina 1, the Layer 1 blockchain for the open metaverse. What is this hot garbage? Did you read that? Is that an actual sentence?
I am spending a credit to skip this question.
Oh, no, you don't
have to.
You don't have to. We could just say no.
Yeah.
Okay, no.
Yeah, I didn't
Too
read
late.
that.
The credit is spent.
Okay.
Oh.
You are doing your best to divest me of your questions.
Give her that credit back. She didn't need to do that one.
Yes.
And yes, I do understand this headline, which is money move in circle.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is the headline.
Rice9 asks, do good critics make good designers?
No.
Oh, God, no.
No.
Yeah.
They don't.
No.
I mean, they can, but certainly not necessarily.
No.
Sometimes I will omit a question from the show because I know it can be answered in a single word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, I think it's an interesting topic, though, because it's like, I think, well, they can be, but I think actually having to do the work makes you a more informed critic, but I think would also make you less of a critic.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, I think if I were to start reviewing games again, I think that I would be like way too kind to them.
Yeah.
Yes, because you understand the work and see, like, I understand what they were trying to do with this.
And that doesn't actually serve anyone.
And that's not, exactly. It does not do a service.
This was going the opposite direction. Does a good critic make a good game designer, right?
Oh, right. Sorry.
Yeah. This was moving the other way to where, like, some of these folks are, like trying to move from criticism into game development.
And my answer then, sorry, I would say is typically no, because a critic is typically working on their own. They're their own island. A designer has to be part of a collaborative team creating something, and that's not something that that naturally you could flow into. You have to be good at that.
Mm-hmm.
I love, actually I hate when people, if like a critic pans something that, everybody loves or something like that. And the person who made the art is like, well, what have you made? Or that kind of stuff. And it's like, come on, man, we don't expect a basketball critic or whatever to be able to be really good at basketball. Yeah, exactly. Those are different skills. Like, come on, let's be real here.
Ash, can you give me an example of what a basketball critic does?
They criticize people's basketballs.
Yeah.
That's right. She's not wrong.
About like color,
Spalding
texture.
remains on top this year.
All right, fair enough. Camillo asks, what is the Kane from Citizen Kane of video games?
The Kane from Kane and Lynch.
Yeah. That's it.
I intellectually know that that's just like a big, gross dude who shoot gun very well, but I don't know much beyond that.
Kane and Lynch 2 is it's a good game. I think you should play
All
Kane
I
and
know
Lynch 2.
about it is that's the time that one guy got fired because
That's
he
Kane
said
and
a bad.
Lynch 1.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was 2. He got fired because he didn't say enough good things about it.
Maybe. Propeller asks, what game or perhaps game genre is the most dad game of all time? For some,
Well, it could be God of War. It could be Last of Us.
yeah.
So you see the theme, right? It's anything Sony puts out.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Propeller asks, by example, for some reason, I've always thought of Game Boy puzzle games as being extremely appealing to parents. Dr. Mario in particular, as you pointed out.
Yeah.
Boom.
Kaboom.
X's dad. Yeah.
Has always struck me as a distinctly old man game. And sure enough, the older I get, the more I love Dr. Mario.
Puzzle games don't read as dad games to me. Dad games read as like, I'm an extremely divorced dad who's
Yeah.
trying to reconnect with my kid in some way, in some kind of like apocalyptic or super serious like situation.
Yeah, I think we're all taking a cynical view of this here.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like when I hear dad, it's like I discovered empathy because I spawned
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. The guys who are like, I couldn't hate women. I made 2 of them.
Right.
But that's not. Yeah, I guess it is dad. But like that's not typically when we say dad. Like dad joke is
Yeah.
dad, right? Like
Yeah.
what's the dad joke of games or whatever?
Octo Dad is a pretty dad joke game.
When
Yeah.
you say dad, but you modify it with video games, it's something completely different.
Yeah.
It means something different than when we say like dad joke.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, I like any Star Wars game, maybe. It's a dad game to me.
Well, then you have to like quantify. Do you mean dad as in dad joke or dad as in dad game?
Dad game. Like a game that a father would see on the shelf and be like, ooh,
Yeah.
that's the thing that
All
I
right.
like.
This
That's
wasn't
true.
asked in the question hole, but I need to ask now, what's the most daddy game of all time?
Dream Daddy, obviously.
Maybe.
Yeah, might be. Might well
What do you
be.
mean maybe?
Yeah,
It's right there in the title.
Fair enough.
That's true.
Chopemon asks, you have decided to become a gamer with a capital G. What does your forum signature look like?
Ooh.
Nope.
Oh,
I was
man.
going to say something really violent, and I'm not going to do that now.
Yeah.
Well, my forum signature thingy, it's an image and it's got like, it has Gawked on it from Malice Miser.
Great start.
And there's like a tribal tattoo
Yeah.
of a dragon.
Okay.
And then it has whatever my favorite gamer phrase is of the week, and I change
And
it.
you
every
change
week.
it every week.
I
Yes.
change it every week.
Okay, so my UI elements are very shiny metal, like very angular, right? And they have the name of every platform, and then next to the platform is my gamer score for that platform.
Oh,
Yes.
And then so it's like Xbox, Steam, whatever, PlayStation. I don't even know what all of them. But then one of them is also just like 7-Eleven reward points.
I have the definitive answer to this, which is extremely easy.
Yeah.
And my forum signature is a picture of the Dovahkiin, and under it is, I'm a gamer. You have one life. I have many.
Yeah.
Whoa.
That's
There
it.
we go.
Nailed it. This one's from Spencer Gifts, who asks, what should a Nintendo baby play to grow out of Nintendo babydom?
Near Automata.
Maybe. I don't know if I think that might be a too big of a jump. Maybe not.
Yeah.
Automata is not all the way there. Yeah. Maybe even though I don't play those, maybe a Metal Gear Solid would do it.
So we're trying to ease them, right? So
Yeah.
No, we don't need to ease them.
Okay.
Well, if we want them to grow out of it, I think we will have to, because just shoving something at them, I don't think they'll actually grow out of it. They could bounce off of it. So I think
Hey,
easing.
what's a good platformer that's like a mid-step between, I don't know, Super Mario, whatever, and
And what?
Odd.
Like anything's a Nintendo
Yeah.
game. It's a
Knuckles
platformer.
Chaotix, obviously.
No.
No. I feel like that's regression. No, I stick with my answer, Near Automata.
All right.
Okay, my answer is Russian roulette.
I don't think we're going to beat that one. Guys, this is our 30th question.
Nice.
So we have met my prediction at the start of the episode. We could keep going from here, or we could call this the end. You think we could go for 40?
I'm good to go. I don't care what
Sure.
you guys want to
Let's
do.
go for
Sure.
40.
All right.
All
let's
right,
try.
this is question 30 from Yeso. What is the tucking in your shirt of video games?
Oh, depends on the context, of course.
Yeah, like pull up your. I feel like the spirit of that question, knowing Yeso from the forums, is like a pull up your pants kind of deal. Like, like Bill Cosby, pull up your pants kind of shit, like respectability politics of video games. And I feel like that's like Mario, like straight up.
No, Mario's too like fun. It's like a military sim.
No, I don't think it's. I see why you would say that, but I feel like it's straight up traditional. How every boomer mom calls every game Mario is Mario.
I feel like I'm thinking of it as like if we were talking about the respectability thing, I feel like it's almost playing the game that you think everyone likes so that you will also be part of the discourse. I don't know if
that's The Last of Us.
Yeah, something like that. Like even if you're not into it.
I'm going to go in a different direction and say cable discipline, like making sure all your like console cables are arranged neatly.
That's nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Like you're scaling everything through a
you are an adult, act like one?
Yeah.
It could be
2K.
Putting away if you play games with discs, putting them away after you are done playing. Like you put it away and you put it and it's not in the console anymore.
But nobody plays games with discs anymore. That's over.
I'd do it.
Next question. LeFish asks, who or what is the Sister Rosetta Tharpe of video games?
Fucking hey, this is this was made for me. It hurt. Fuck. Give me a second because I have to remember what her name is.
Because she's for people who don't know, she's like basically the progenitor of rock and roll. She was a gospel singer / preacher who she really she's maybe the first person to use distortion in a guitar. Maybe not, but maybe. And she's certainly one of the very first people to play something that you could look at and be like, or listen to and be like, that's rock music. So
what's the first
she's
video
very
game?
Cool. And what's the first video game that has that? I don't know if we have done anything that cool yet.
I'm thinking about it from two different ways. Like female, like the first, like, okay, this is like a cool female video game character. And then like also from like who's the cool black video game character who's also a woman. So I have two answers to this. The first like video game answer, like, the progenitor of like cool female video game characters, Lara Croft. And then the black answer is Grace Walker from Wolfenstein. Fucking love that bitch. She's voiced by Deborah Wilson. Whoever asked that question, I love you forever.
I was trying to think of it from the perspective of like, wait, it's that old? And like, it's like someone, you know what I mean? Like the genre, right? And like someone who maybe wasn't recognizing their time for making something that like everyone makes now. And the first thing that came to mind is a game that I actually think is very interesting. You can laugh if you want. It was made by Coleco. And it's called Smurfs Rescue in Gargamel's Castle, I believe is the name. And this is a game from, I think, 1983, 1984. I think 83. Where you walk left to right on an adventure where at the end you rescue the princess. And that's the end of the game. And I know that sounds very commonplace now, but like that was invented
for that Smurfs game.
And it's something where I when I describe it, I say that I don't think it influenced Super Mario Brothers, but I think it did predict it. And the guy who designed that game, name's Lawrence Schick. He's the narrative designer of Baldur's Gate 3.
Hey! No fucking way!
Yeah.
Nice.
That's wow.
That's so cool. Holy shit.
Wow. What a turnaround. Incredible.
Well, I can't exactly follow that, but I'm just going to do one more thing.
Yeah.
Which is the Sega Genesis Mega Drive sound chip, where coming from the perspective of, it could do that. It could sound like that. Which, because when it started out, it was just kind of like bwamp, bwamp, and then people really pushed that thing to where it sounded like modern music or perhaps future music, which is what she did with the guitar.
This one's a little inside baseball, and I try to avoid
hold up.
the-
Before we move on, I really appreciate how we were asked that question, and all three of us had different interpretations, and we all came up with interesting answers to that question. So, Art, you got
a great question.
Same likewise.
This is a little inside baseball, and I think we have actually discussed this at one point behind the scenes. Bebedor asks, what steps are you taking to have John Carpenter do a guest appearance, and how would you convince him?
Well, I reached out to his PR team and we got pretty close.
Mm-hmm.
But then they said no. So I'm going to try again sometime later.
My step is to do other things while Brandon works on it.
Yeah, me too. That's my strategy.
My step is to ask, ironically, who is John Carpenter? And why do I care that he's on insert credit in the first
because
place?
John Carpenter's The Thing is a video
Mars?
game. Yeah. No, it's John Carter.
Oh.
Yeah, John Carpenter.
John Carpenter made The Thing, the video game.
Yeah. John Carpenter invented The Thing of the Fantastic Four.
He did do a Mars movie.
Yeah.
Where a guy goes, aga plaga daga.
That was my ringtone. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ghost of Mars is kind of cool.
All right.
Cool.
UG asks, backgammon was invented 5,000 years ago and is still going strong.
That's not my fault.
What video game will be going strong 5,000 years from now?
RuneScape, apparently.
None.
Come on.
None of those.
Will humanity still be around 5,000 years from now?
Yeah,
At the current rate, no.
Yeah.
We're working on ending that.
We're working on it.
Okay, if I'm trying to actually think about this, 5,000 years from now, right?
Mm-hmm.
They'll probably be still making games for the NES.
Yeah.
The tools will get really good.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think of what has sustained, and I think aiming a pointer and shooting is that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're using guns, because guns might not exist in 5,000 years. But I do think just the precisionness of lining up and interacting at the correct time. Goes back to Pong, I would say. I think something like that will continue.
Yeah, there'll be a skill game.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
5,000 years from now.
A timing skill game. Yeah. To press the input at the correct
Pong
time.
5,000.
Petting an animal.
Yeah.
Oh, especially when there are no animals left.
5,000 years from now, Twitter will still exist, but the only account will be, can you pet the dog?
Oh, what a bleak future. All right. Next question is from Spencer Gifts, who asks, how do the video game generations break down if one goes by design innovation?
Oh, nope. I tap out.
Okay. Ash is
by
spending
design innovation of the console?
Also, this one, I think we should be able to pass this one for free because it takes too long if we're trying to get through to 40.
You don't get to pass anything for free, buddy.
That's right.
Okay, so I will give my standard answer, which is that I think there's prehistory, which is Atari or whatever.
Right.
I think that the NES is generation 2.
Right.
I think it becomes generation 3. I actually I keep narrowing it down. I think generation 3 is actually Xbox 360. That era. And I think that's digital delivery. But you could argue going back to discs maybe as generation 3.
I would say 3D as a 3D camera. I think 3D camera is a major, because we're talking about design,
not tech. Okay,
yeah,
I agree. Okay,
yeah.
So NES
PlayStation.
There's Primordial Soup, NES, PlayStation. I think 360 because you now can deliver indie games.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think we're still there.
Yeah. We're in G4.
Yeah. I think that's right.
Yeah. The Gamers Channel. This one is a little personal, so I was hesitant to ask it, but maybe it could be good television. A Small Rabbite asks, what is the most finally making it to an inn with 1 HP and no potions moment of your real life?
Oh, that's a good one.
Well, there was one time when this is very stupid, when I decided to initiate a drift in my Honda Prelude. They're not supposed to drift, especially the 5th gen. And I did a full spin out, and I stopped the car within inches of a guardrail. So there's that one. Another time, is when I had a blowout on the freeway. Just my tire exploded while I was on I-5, and I was driving my 68 Pontiac Tempest, which is a beast, huge automobile that you aim more than steer, and I managed to get to the side of the road. I was going 80 and my tire blew out, and I managed to get to the side of the road without hitting any objects, no cars, no other things. That was pretty good.
That's good.
So I took the spirit of the question as like you are in a moment where you have nothing left and you have to go, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And you get there just in time, I think.
Yeah, because you arrive at the inn.
Yeah.
That's the point.
Oh, at the inn. I heard end.
No,
like final boss.
INN.
Ah, that's different. Okay.
Yeah, that's why I was saying those things.
Yeah.
I've thankfully never been in a situation where my life has been in mortal peril, but I kind of took it the way Frank was taking it. And I used to work a desk job, and I'm pretty sure I've told this story before, and I would go to work and I would cry every day at my desk, and I'm like, I can't do this because it makes me want to walk into Lake Erie with rocks in my pocket, so I have to do something different. And that's when I started like pursuing writing about video games, and I just taught myself the business of freelancing and all of that shit. I made like a Twitch channel, and I would like stream video games every now and again. And I just like, I guess, bootstrapped my freelance career, and that saved my life. Also got divorced, saved my life. People, leave your partners. If they don't make you happy, fucking leave. It's scary.
To me, that one is almost like you had no potions and 1 HP.
Yeah.
And then you got to the inn, and then you learned how to run an inn.
Yeah. You just stayed there.
You just stayed there and started working.
Works for me. That still technically answers the question.
Yeah.
Frank, did you have something similar?
I would. I don't know. Like I didn't work on that many games, but all the ones that I worked on, I definitely crunched.
Mm-hmm.
In each situation, I feel like the last day was I can't do this one more day. So like it just felt like that every day.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm familiar with that.
Yeah.
I'm familiar with that. I've been doing that for a couple of years.
This next one's from Nemoid, who asks, how can local organizations like public libraries foster positive connections among video game enthusiasts?
Well, first of all, it's going to be, I wouldn't put the burden on them right now.
Yeah.
They're getting their budgets
This is an old question.
You didn't know that when you were asking this question. I don't blame you, question asker. But having cool games in the library, we've had librarians on the forums and stuff, but having cool, interesting games that you can check out physically from a library could foster in-person, real meetings of the minds. I was just thinking last weekend I went to a used everything store. I went to Half Price Books, and I was feeling sad because I was in the video game section, and I realized that when I was much younger, and I would be in the video game section of a store and there were other people there, I would sort of in the back of my mind think, these people might be my friends. They might be similar to me. And now when I'm in a video game aisle, I'm like, these people are almost certainly my enemy. And I don't want
Do
to
not observe me.
It's really, it really sucks. It's too bad. But I do think it's still possible, especially if you're a young person and you both reach to grab Bayonetta from the thing.
Like a meet
you'd be
cute.
like, oh.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so
My little buddy.
easiest answer is just to have a club that meets in the library. That maybe plays the same game.
Yeah.
I think something that
if you have a loud room, do Smash tournaments. Like,
Yeah.
I was going to say, my answer was straight up do video game fighting game tournaments.
Yeah.
Or do not even necessarily fighting game tournaments, but games where you have like 2 players and just do like nights where you can get together and play like, I don't know, tactics games against each other or
co-op game
games.
whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I would also try to figure out how to cheaply obtain things where people can take the entire thing home and it is a video game. So what inspired that for me is I was visiting my wife Amanda's hometown with her. She grew up in rural Georgia, and there's a small library there, and they had in like bags with little hooks on them, like on like a coat rack kind of pole. You could just grab a Wii and like check it out. Like, and this was, 4 years ago or something, right? And it's like, that's actually kind of compelling because libraries don't have that much money and Wii's cost like $10. So, there might be something there. I don't know of a modern device you can just grab for cheap, but
no, I mean, like if they could have the budget for a couple PlayStation, Genesis, TurboGrafx, NES, Super Nintendo minis, like
sure,
that.
yeah, that exactly. That's actually a really good example, and you know, another thing that got me thinking about that is just my understanding of like used game stores is that it's not necessarily the weird collectors that are the bulk of the audience there. It's just regular folk trying to get like a $5 Xbox 360 game. And I don't see that reflected in public libraries because they can't maintain Xbox 360s because they're old now.
You know, if they had the stuff and they could find it all, a Rock Band night would totally.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that would
totally
kill.
do it.
Yep.
It would. That really would.
But again, like all of this is hopefully lower budget and gets games into people's homes without them having to have consoles.
Yeah.
All right. Our next question comes from Spencer. This is one that I can see one of you spending a credit on to skip. But let's see what happens.
Exciting.
Why did so many companies throw their hat in the console ring in the 5th generation?
All right. Control T, list of video game generations.
I'm sure they mean like the time when there was like the 3DO and the CDI.
That's
and
right.
5th generation.
Yeah, it's got to be that.
5th generation, let's see.
Is it?
From approximately October 4th, 1993 to March 23rd, 2006.
Perfect.
So,
Thanks,
oh, come
Spencer.
on. Where
It
do
makes
I get my
tons of
list
sense.
console? Okay. 3DO, Saturn, PlayStation, N64. Fine. Okay.
Yeah.
Jaguar,
And also
32X, Virtual Boy.
PS2 and Dreamcast, and assuming that.
Actually, no, PS2 would be the next one. So,
Well, I'm just if we're going by time, but we're not.
well, yeah, but it's
just-
like
yeah.
these existed in that time.
Yeah,
They
no, I
didn't
know what it
necessarily
actually
thrive.
means.
So 3DO, Saturn, PS1, N64. What is the question?
Why did they do it?
Why did so many console people throw their hats in the rings that generation?
Oh, so 1993 and 1994 were a weird boom time for people getting into the console industry. The dust hadn't quite settled yet. And we actually did a little pop-up exhibit about this at Portland Retro last year. It was just about the year 1994. And it was kind of catered around like, this is a time where there were 11 consoles on shelves. That's crazy. And it was just a gold rush because, you know, Nintendo had demonstrated that the market was there. And then Sega demonstrated that there could be more than one.
Yeah.
And so as soon as they demonstrated that, like 6 companies all at once were like, I want to be number 3.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what happened.
Well, and I think the other aspect is that right around now, 3D graphics were Funk's old brother were coming within reach of consumer prices, and everybody knew that, and they were like, we could do that, and so that's like it makes sense for people to give that a try. And some people, the ones that didn't give that a try, are there's a big common thread of they lost. The ones that weren't focused on like CDI and whatnot, and the Sega CD came out earlier than that, but the PCFX sure did not come out earlier than that, and they were focusing on FMV, and that's why they failed.
And I still want to say that I think the 3DO was a neat idea. Like it was something that was really cheap to get a license for, that gave you not only tools but assets to use. And the tech itself for the console was something that different manufacturers could license and make their own.
Yeah.
Like it's basically a Steam box.
Yeah.
But
it was a
its
neat
own close
idea,
thing.
except that the money for software didn't prop up the sales of hardware.
I mean, the theory is that it could, because it's like, well, 6 companies are making, 3DOs, right? Like the idea is that it's VCR, right?
Yeah,
it's just a tech.
Yeah, right.
But it just didn't work out, but it could have.
But the manufacturer could only make money off selling the VCR, and that would require it to become the biggest thing, which it didn't.
Good answers, everybody. Way to go. Here's our next one from Gaagaagiins, who asks, what are the best default button or key mapping assignments for a dedicated jump button? And what are the worst default button or key mapping assignments for a dedicated jump button?
Whatever is the bottommost button should be your jump. Any other thing than that is worst.
Well, not any is worst. The top one is worse. The steel car button as jump is the worst.
I would say trigger is the worst.
No, I disagree.
Yeah.
I think trigger might be the worst.
No way. Trigger is a fast twitch button.
You do not jump with the trigger button.
Trigger?
That's just
Trigger. Maybe shoulder is a fast twitch button, but trigger is.
trigger isn't.
wait.
I agree with Brandon.
Really? Like trigger, like the back most. Not
Yes.
the bumper, right?
No.
No, that's a fast action button.
Yeah.
It is a fast action button, but no.
Oh,
Like I said,
Esper said in our little producer
thumbstick
chat,
click.
Thumbstick click might be the
Yeah,
worst
it is.
one.
that's, ooh, that's bad.
And I will backtrack on the trigger because I forget that I play everything on an Elite controller, and I have that switch set where triggers are just a button and not a full.
I don't think thumbstick click should be allowed. I don't think that should be a button in video games.
Yeah,
It is, though.
Get rid of it.
Yeah. No good.
The only time I ever liked it was in The Godfather.
Yeah,
the
when
game,
you squeeze the
where
life out of
it
somebody.
makes you press both
Oh,
of them
that's fun.
and the shoulder buttons
Yeah.
to choke people.
There also is a really good bit, I think God of War 3, where you click in both sticks to gouge somebody's eyes out.
Yeah. That is the only time that it's good. It's like if you need to squeeze and then it makes you feel someone's heartbeat. Yeah.
Oh,
You
God.
murder them,
Manhunt
they
style.
just die and like talk about their families. And then you're like, whatever, dude, you're just a video game. You're dying in my hands.
This is barely a question. I'm going to spend a credit to skip this one.
All right. So you're
But I
at
wanna know what it
you're
is.
at -1 credits.
You know what? What I'm going to do is I am going to give Esper a credit so that she can edge ever closer to 0 in exchange for skipping this one. It's a combination lightning round improv zone that nobody will enjoy.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you don't even read it?
No, because there is no premise. The question is just do a lightning round improv zone.
Oh,
That's all there is.
Yeah.
never mind.
Putting
Okay.
the impetus on me to think of it. No, thank you.
Carry on.
Yeah. All right. Anonymous asks, what is the ween of video games?
The what?
The ween of video games.
Ween is some sort of a band.
Yeah. Okay. So I've never like wanted to interact with anyone who's just into Ween. It's just like, I don't know, a nerd band, I think.
Yeah.
I don't even know.
A nerd band
Yeah.
that's not even funny.
Ween is one of those bands that I knew of the existence of. I do not know what they sound like, but for whatever reason, whenever I heard someone say that, I was like, I don't want to know about that.
Yeah.
This is definitely a To America questions because all three of you motherfuckers knew what that was. And I'm like, huh?
Yeah.
Are you talking about like the little dogs? Like what?
No.
No.
The band
Okay.
ween.
Gotcha.
So, okay, what is the Ween of video games?
Yeah. What is
right?
the ween of video games?
So people that I don't want anything to do with are super into it, and I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Oh, that's Toho.
Mm.
All right.
I
do
think
know
we
what it
got
is,
some
though.
Toho fans in the insert credit forums, but
I love you, but no.
they might be the cool ones.
I'm going to say League of Legends.
Surely there must be some good people who like ween.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
There's good
I mean,
people who like League of Legends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
League of Legends might be it.
World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
Well, I kind of know what that is.
Oh, right. I know what that is.
All right.
It's good. Good
Like I
question.
can describe the loop of World of Warcraft. League of Legends, like, I don't know, these guys move around.
Okay. I got 814 questions left in the question hole. Let's bring it down to an even 810, shall we?
What number are we on out of 40?
We've done 40, but that includes
Oh.
until you skip. Let's do 4 more,
Oh.
and then we'll call it. How
Okay.
about that?
Oh, my God.
Okay.
All right.
Gruntin Gary says, both of my retinas detached and I've lost a bit of my vision, but still have enough to play most games off a monitor. I find older games easier to play because they were created with less detail and more contrast in mind.
Yeah.
My question is, in what way have video games become more and less accessible over the years? Physically
Tiny
and
fonts.
culturally.
Tiny fonts.
Tiny
Yeah,
fonts are
absolutely.
the
God
worst.
darn those tiny fonts. Big them up, please.
Yeah, tiny fonts, colors and contrast. Thankfully, that can be mitigated with like colorblind modes and stuff like that. We're going back to yellow paint. I don't know if there's a colorblind issue where you can't like perceive that as well as you might be able to.
I think 3D games are less friendly to the visually impaired. Like there
Yeah,
are people
'cause-
who could play 2D games by audio cues.
But pathfinding in general in 3D video games would be very difficult, I imagine, if you had like a visual impairment. Like, where are you supposed to go? Like, how do you know where you're supposed to go, right? Because,
Yeah.
in 2D video games, it's like left to right. Like, you know that, there's one direction you can go and that's the right one. But when you're like working in a 3D space without like specific pathfinding cues, it's kind of hard to like tell, especially if you're working with limited or low vision. Like, where are you supposed to go next?
Oh, I would also add spatial audio on that.
Yeah,
note,
not good either. Yep.
Yeah.
All right. All good answers. Next one is from Repel Her. This is another really old one. Insert credit panelists have historically been pretty adamant about never having a video game make them cry. As someone who's been moved to tears by multiple games, I find this rather curious. Does the crew just generally never cry from, say, cinema or books either? Or is there something about the medium of video games that makes them inherently unmoving?
Well,
I cry all the time.
I imagine this includes me as a panelist, and I have never shied away from Mother 3 made me cry. I've just said that. So I don't know where they're coming from.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we know Ash is ready to go.
Yeah.
At a moment's fucking notice, dude. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I'll cry for anything. Like, I'll cry at commercials. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, and I'm sure I have. It doesn't like stick in my mind.
Yeah.
But I'm sure I have.
I feel that way too. Like, it's like I probably have, but I don't file that away as like an achievement.
Yeah.
You know?
I made myself cry with one of the endings that I wrote for Demon School.
Like, I'm going to bring up South of Midnight again because it's a game that you should go play. But like, I loaded into that. I kid you not. Loaded into that game within 30 seconds. I was crying, and I wasn't even like primed to do it because I had already played the demo and I knew that there were like emotional story beats or like whatever that was going to make me cry. But I loaded into the game, and like in the first part of the game that you are packing up your stuff because you have to leave because there's a hurricane coming and it's going to wash away your house. And the reason why I cried wasn't because of that, which would be like super emotional if you think about Katrina and stuff like that. It was the fact that there's a portrait, a piece of art in the house that references Annie Lee, who's a Black artist, Blue Monday, which like, the thing about when you have like Black people in video games, they'll often do like these little references where you're like, oh, a Black person wrote this, because they'll say something or they'll do something or whatever. And it's all very like basic 101 stuff that you could pick up if you like watch Abbott Elementary or whatever. Like, it's not specific, but Blue Monday is a deep fucking cut. Like, that is, oh, we are serious. We are about our business. We are trying to show you, like, this is Black with a capital B shit. Referencing Blue Monday? Like, everybody on both sides of my family had an Annie Lee picture in their house. That's just a thing that we did. And that's not something you know unless like your grandparents, all fucking 4 of them are Black as hell. Started bawling immediately. Like, oh, yep, I know what this is about. I needed to get up and walk away. All right.
I'm going to be the one who asks about it. I primarily know Blue Monday as the New Order song.
Yeah.
And
oh god.
That's a two American situation as well that I was going to bring up.
Hey, fair enough. Blue Monday is a picture. Esper obviously put this in the show notes, but it's this Black woman. She's like in her bed and the whole thing is blue, and she's just like sitting there like, dude, I got to get out of this bed. Yeah. I got to go to work. We didn't have that picture in my house, but like other members of my family did. The Annie Lee picture that we had is that was called 60 Pounds. Our mother hung it in our kitchen, and it's this old Black lady. She's cleaning chitlins, and you can see on the, like, there's a calendar by her window, and it's for April, and it's like she's cleaning chitlins for Easter. Like, yep,
Oh yeah, I'm looking like through an Annie Lee gallery. This is great stuff.
This game is Black with a capital fucking B, and they're not doing 101 references. We're like PhD level shit, and I fucking bawled because who does? Never in my life, in my whole Black ass life, have I heard like a video game made by a bunch of fucking Canadians reference Blue Monday. Blew my mind.
That's great.
I cry all the time.
Very good.
Spencer asks, is video game marketing different than other forms of marketing? Are video game consumers different than other kinds of consumers?
No?
I think in some ways, yes, because I think video game consumers perceive themselves as more savvy and are more likely to turn on you than, for example, marketing for like Tide or Dawn. You know?
Yeah.
Okay, I can see that.
It's
Using
easier,
that specific example, yeah, but in general, nah.
It's easier to alienate the whole audience real quick with a video game ad, like the tighten up the graphics on level 3 kind of, oh, you don't understand what this is at all.
So, I mean, that's the difference between like there's a lot of entertainment and we're trying to grab your attention and make you pick this one out of hundreds versus, hey, you need laundry detergent. If we say the name of ours enough, that's the one you'll buy at the store.
And that's why I think it's inherently different.
Thing.
Yeah. I think it's different because, well, I think media is a category and products are a category.
Yeah, okay, I'll say that it's different than movies because, well, I don't even know what movies are right now, but let's just pretend it was, I don't know, 10 years ago or something, right? But like marketing a movie is like, hey, everyone, here's the one that's coming out soon. The one you're going to go see if you go do this kind of thing.
Yeah. The holiday is happening.
Right.
Here's the movie that's during it.
Yeah. And video games have maybe never been that. You know,
they kind of were for it, like the holiday season used to be the big buying period. Like,
yes.
So it was when games were physical.
That's fair.
And your grandma had to go buy you like the Call of Duty. You know.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm thinking of like you go see an animated movie and it's like, hey, here's the kids' movies that are coming out for the next 6 months. You could put them on your calendar. Yeah, you might be right. I mean, it just feels more competitive to me, video games. Like because they demand more of your time. And so they really have to be louder than each other.
Let me ask you this. When was the last time you saw a video game commercial?
Oh, we talked about this in a couple episodes ago in the Mike Drucker episode, where we talked about like the video game TV ads that impressed us the most. It has been a while.
It's been a while.
Yeah, like there is
I see them on YouTube though.
Yeah.
Yeah, the ones that you see on YouTube are kind of like what you guys say. Like it's very specific so you don't alienate your audience. But then you see the shit that gets advertised on like bus stops or as a pre-roll ad on Twitch. And that is very different. And that is more in line with like a movie commercial or something like that versus something, you know, because it's very bombastic. It's very grab your attention. It's very, hey, we're letting you know the new Call of Duty game is out or whatever. Like that's why I think like, no, that's why that was my first reaction, because I think of advertising in that very traditional sense and not the same way as like, oh, this is a sizzle reel for the next PlayStation, you know, state of play or whatever. Like that's very different from the pre-roll ad on a Twitch stream, you know?
I got to show you that Golden Sun commercial. You'll have to see that thing.
I will say, I don't remember if it was something that the Video Game History Foundation tweeted or something like where they were, oh yeah, I think it was. And it was showing the ad that went out to distributors for Majora's Mask, where it was the big red moon, like coming down on like New York or something. I'm like, that shit's hard as hell. Like, and I think as I remember it, that wasn't for consumers specifically, but distributors to pick up the game to have it. I'm like, shit, I would have been moved by that. And then I think I would have been very upset to know that Majora's Mask was nowhere near like that hardcore, I guess.
I would disagree. Majora's Mask was pretty hardcore.
It is pretty hardcore, but not in the kind of way that advertisement belied.
All right. Last question, folks. This is from Secret Billy, who asks the kind of question I usually disqualify for being too broad. The neuroscientist Patrick House says that had he had access to video games, Isaac Newton would have been a speedrunner. What niche types of game player would other historical figures have been?
I feel like I take issue with the fact that Isaac Newton would have been a speedrunner. Isaac Newton would have been a physics games dude. He would have played Half-Life 2.
I guess maybe the implication is that he would have been good at exploiting physics.
Yeah.
I guess that's so like physics glitches and stuff, I guess.
Okay.
Like,
that's not how I read that, but now that you say that, I agree.
I agree too. Yeah.
No, we need to pick other historical figures who are
too
niche
broad.
gamers.
I hate this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does anyone want to spend a credit to take out our last question?
Mozart's a rhythm gamer.
Yeah.
Da Vinci is any of the like he's really good at character creators and stuff.
Yeah.
No, he would have been a puzzle game dude.
I
feel one of those like super real crunchy puzzle
Tetris
game.
Grandmaster.
Yeah, or like the Talos Principle, like that kind of puzzle game.
Oscar Wilde isn't a dating sim.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Who would have been a competitive fighting game player? I feel like Houdini for some reason. I don't know why I feel that way. I just feel like he had a chip on his shoulder.
Teddy Roosevelt would have been a competitive fighting
Ash,
game
what do you think
player.
Oscar Wilde would have made of Dragon Age Inquisition?
Inquisition specifically?
Yeah, they made a whole ass character that's like, oh, what if Dorian Gray was one of your romance options?
God, Dorian wasn't that kind of like hedonistic type. He just wasn't. Like he came across like that, but that's not what he was actually. He would have been Iron Bull. Like he would have went for Iron Bull, honestly.
Think so.
That's what I would have thought.
Yeah.
God, Marie Curie.
Yeah.
She would have done cooking games. I feel like she would have really liked like Overcooked or something like that.
F. Scott Fitzgerald would have been a free-to-play whale.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Brandon?
I'm trying to think of what game Martin Luther King would have really enjoyed.
Oh wow.
Mafia 3. I'm going to leave it at that.
Okay. I offer no comment here. I'm unqualified. Congratulations, everybody. We really, really dug we made a significant dent in the question hole, and I'm proud of all of us. Does anyone have anything they'd like to recommend at this juncture?
Throwing dirt in the question hole.
Yeah,
filling it
that's
up.
what we're doing.
I have some recommendations. Yes. One is I finally watched that Speed Racer movie that everyone told me to watch for
baby.
20 years almost. No, it's more like 17 years, but still, I liked it. So if you haven't seen that movie, check it out. But I don't know if I would have liked it as much
17 years ago.
Narratively, if I didn't already like Speed Racer. However, I think I would have appreciated it structurally. The thing you got to get over is that everybody looks like they're in a bright fluorescent room all the time with bright lights on them.
Really cool stylistic
all the time,
choice.
which I don't think that part was a choice. Based on the stuff I've watched about what they were trying to do, that aspect was not a choice. Everything being fully in focus was a choice, but the lighting mismatch was not intentional. But everything that they did is really cool, and the aesthetics of like zoomer shooters and a lot of glitch art and stuff is so similar to what you see in that movie in 2008. The vibrant shotgun of colors everywhere and tons of things going on visually. Pretty cool. So I recommend that. Good movie from the Wachowskis. I guess I'm coming around on them. And next, there's a movie called The Golden Buddha, which was during the 60s James Bond boom in Hong Kong, which is very, very fun. And this movie it's about a businessman whose briefcase gets switched with his buddies. And it turns out that his has a golden Buddha in it, and everybody wants it. And this fella goes on a journey, a sociopathic journey, where he just like doesn't. It sort of changes toward the end, and it was probably an accident. But like he goes to find his friend, and his friend is dead and stabbed, and he's like, "Huh." And then he just picks up his briefcase and leaves. It's just it's very like weird, non-motivational orient. Like you first meet him, he's chatting up a lady for an extremely long time, so long that he misses his flight almost. And then later he accidentally goes to a brothel, and all the ladies are taking his clothes off, and he's like, "No, I don't have time for this. I'm looking for my friend." It's just really, it's all over the place, but pretty fun if you're into 60s camp, but with a Hong Kong style. That's fun. If you want one of those that's even better, check out From Beijing with Love, which is Stephen Chow, very funny James Bond like movie. It's got all the kinds of extremely bad jokes that I like, where a lady asks him what his he says he's no good with guns, and she's like, "Well, what do you do then?" He's like, I specialize in the flying dagger. And she's like, "Flying dagger?" It's like, yes. Flying as in flying dagger, and dagger as in flying dagger.
Hell yeah.
just the kinds of jokes that I like. So
that rules.
Check that out. And lastly, my last one for the week is Flying Saucer Video, which is a webcomic by someone named Cam, I think. And it's about a bunch of queer weirdos who are all up in their heads who work at a video store, and it's nice. I like it. Will they go out with each other? Who knows? We'll have to keep watching and reading to discover.
Oh, I'm
That's
checking
what I
this out
have
now. This is
for
really
this week.
cute. Yeah,
it's cute.
Brandon, I would love to hear your thoughts about Jupiter Ascending, but that is going to be for another day.
We can talk about that another time.
If you want to spend credits, we can do a movie podcast at some point.
Stop trying to get me to spend my credits, Jaffe. I spent a lot.
Speaking of which, I'm giving Esper the credit for this episode because I know the show notes are going to be just a real bastard to write this week.
Oh, that's true.
So
that's true.
Extra credit to Esper for her trouble. Frank, do you have anything to recommend?
Kind of. So I'm going to start explaining something that isn't necessarily the recommendation. So my wife Amanda came to me, and this is just the most random thing. She's just like, I want to watch this British show from the 80s. It's called Lovejoy. I'm like, where is this coming from? Like, this is not. So looked it up and I'm really good at pirating. So I got it all. It's on the Plex or whatever. It is I believe BBC produced show from the 80s, starring Ian McShane. And he is an antiques dealer. The show is basically Ian McShane solving like crimes by being really good at antiques.
Oh, I love everything about this premise.
And it ran for like 6 seasons.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. So I've watched 3. I'm not saying don't watch it. It's pretty fun. But where I'm going with this is that we're watching this and I'm like, man, I want to watch Deadwood again. And so our current viewing habit right now for when we want an hour-long show is kind of bouncing between Ian McShane as a very young antiques dealer that all the ladies like, and Ian McShane as Al Swearingen, who runs the Gem Saloon in Deadwood. And the weird things are happening to my brain because of that. I don't know how to turn that into a recommendation.
Well, recommendation is
you gotta
watch
do now.
2 things with an actor at a different stage in their career at once.
You got to add American Gods to that, obviously.
Sure, but he's too similar to Al Swearingen in American Gods. He's not Al Swearingen in Lovejoy, but he's almost kind of. He'll go on rants sometimes, and it's like he's gonna say cocksucker, but he doesn't say it. So anyway, I don't know how to turn. Okay, Lovejoy. Go watch Lovejoy, everyone. I've watched 3 episodes. It's fine. I don't know if it gets any better.
Ash, any Rex?
Nothing presently. Husband's watching Boondocks. That's a fun show.
Mm-hmm.
You should watch that. I'm not watching anything. Like, I'm going to use this opportunity for you to send me recommendations. Like, if you have like a Chinese historical harem drama that you're watching, like recommend them to me because I need a comfort show. And those are like, that's my comfort show genre.
Where should they send those Rex?
I only have the anime one. I mean, I'm sure you've seen Apothecary Diaries.
Love Apothecary Diaries.
You have seen that other one that I forget the name of that I'll tell you later.
Yeah, that other one.
with the young fella who gets reborn and he's doing like spirit detective stuff.
You're describing a lot of shit right now.
Because that's Yu Yu Hakusho.
No, it's a Chinese one.
Oh, no, I don't know that one.
Yeah.
Are you talking about Heaven's Official Blessing or something?
No, I'll find it for you later. I'll figure it out.
You can do it in the forums for this episode.
Yeah,
I will monitor them, and that's where you send your recommendations.
Good plug. Speaking of those forums, if you want to join our community, you could do that by going to forums.insertcredit.com. If you enjoyed this or any episode of Insert Credit, you could rate and review our show wherever and however you can. Specifically, like iTunes and Spotify is the most helpful right now. You could support us directly with your contributions to patreon.com/insertcredit, like everyone featured on this show did. You can email me at show@insertcredit.com if you would like to sponsor an episode with an advertisement or personal message. That's show@insertcredit.com. You could also find us on youtube.com/insertcreditshow for a video form of this episode and many others. This episode is edited by Esper Quinn with music by Kurt Feldman. I'm Alex Jaffe.
I'm Frank Cifaldi.
I'm Ash Paris.
I'm Brandon Sheffield.
Ash, you want to take that again? You're not Ash Paris.
I'm not.
I saw
Ash.
You move your eyeballs around after that.
That was not right. I'm Ash Parrish.
And your game has now been saved. There we go. Good job, everybody. It's literally 6:58.
Good job.